Okay, so we're back, part 2 of going to prison for the first time. Words from a 48-year-old virgin. That's my first time going to prison. Things you're going to need and want immediately. You're going to want to get some of the boxer shorts off a commissary. You're going to want to get at least a pair of shorts, a few t-shirts. Get them big because they're cheap and they shrink. A pair of sweatpants and a sweatshirt if you're going into the winter months, because they like to keep the compound cold. They like to keep the buildings cold. Like Vegas almost. They keep your attention. They keep you awake. They want to break you down and make you institutionalized sooner than later. So these things are just the things I've found is, again, a person who collects information, data points, and uses that to his advantage. Again, get the stuff you're going to need. Get your own socks. That cheap ass shit the federal government gives you, you might as well go barefoot. And you don't want to go barefoot in prison. So get the ankle socks. Don't get the long ones. They're cheap again. They'll roll down. They'll be falling down all the time. It'll drive you nuts. Get your own boots. The bullshit they give you when you get in there, the stuff they issue to you is horrible. I have back problems, C6, C7 herniated discs. Never had them repaired. I had an amplified back problem after wearing their shitty ass boots. Now, a secret to that is don't buy them new. Don't buy them from the compound. Buy them from somebody who's getting ready to get discharged or can't take stuff with them. They sell their property. They sell it for Compound Max, Fish, commissary, whatever. Look at the commissary list of what they cost new. Look at the condition of what the guy's trying to sell them for. And just, again, maximize the best of your ability and negotiate a deal. But don't buy them new. You're only in prison for a minute. Don't buy them new. Unless you're doing long-term stuff. If you're in for 10 years, buy your own shit. Okay, so, again, get shorts, sweats, sweatshirt, socks, a couple of boxers, a couple of t-shirts of your own. Use the compound shit when you get your job. You're going to get a job. If you're going to the federal, if you're going to BOP, Bureau of Prisons will not allow you to sit there and do nothing. They're going to make you work, even if you're wiping down tables in the kitchen. So use their shit to get dirty while working. Use your stuff when you got your free time. If you're at the library, if you're taking a couple of ACE classes, which is an educational class to try and program and better yourself. If you're out in the compound doing workouts and things of that nature, depending on your facility and what they have as a setup. Use your stuff for better time. Go to church. Go to the churches. They do church on Sundays. They have Bible studies and everything else while in there. I met some really interesting people when I first got there. Wasn't my scene, but the church. Go and stay in touch with your higher power. If you're Muslim, then obviously you'll find your people and they'll know who you are and you guys will gravitate towards one another. We'll talk about that later on. But go to church and kind of keep your mind whole and keep your spirit free. Be open-minded about that. And I'm not a very religious guy, meaning I don't go to church every Sunday. But when I do go to church, I get an overwhelmingly warm and comforting feeling. So again, find peace within your heart. You're going to be there for a minute, and I don't care what your sentence is. A minute too long locked up. Every minute's too long. There's not a minute that goes by. You just don't want to be out of there. All right, so back to the get there, get these things. I told you about sweatpants, sweatshirts, socks, boxers, a couple of t-shirts. Negotiate your deal on sneakers, unless you're gonna be wearing sneakers a lot working out. Then get your own. You don't want somebody else's sweaty ass feet in there, or get some insoles. They sell some cheap insoles or some odor eaters, and maybe some spray them out a little bit. Wash them down in the laundry area. And maybe go ahead and negotiate a deal on some decent shoes. I found a nice pair of running shoes that were snuck in at a different compound. Somehow they were on commissary, but somebody snuck them in. I got a decent deal on some New Balance, and I started running, and I like them a lot. So again, find whatever that's going to be and negotiate a deal with somebody who's leaving. Don't buy things that aren't available. You're just going to bring heat on yourself from the COs. If they start shaking down lockers and cells, you don't want to be found with that stuff if it's not appropriate or not on the BOP's list. Again, I promise you, I caught a cell phone charge, and I was doing some other stuff, and we'll talk about that later to come. But they're really hard on that stuff. You'll end up in the hole like I did. Maybe not for as long as I did. I was under investigation. Long story short, though, just do the right things. Take this heat of my voice, the passion about what I'm talking about. Do the right things, get through your time, get out of prison, and go back to life. Make a schedule. One thing I regret when I first got there, I didn't get a notebook. And I was dealing with some other things, and we'll talk about that on what that adjustment looks like. If it's a medical issue, or I had some addiction issues prior to going to prison that I had to overcome and conquer while there, and it was cold turkey. It was a very big adjustment, very hard physically and mentally, and it started to play on my emotions a little bit, so it took me a minute to adjust, maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks. But once I adjusted, I started looking back, oh man, I wish I would have done this when I first got there. Notepad and pen. Write a journal. Every day, write something positive, outlook. What was your day like? What did you get out of it? How did you grow from the experience? Write something down that you can gain some knowledge or wisdom from. I don't care how foolish it may sound, it's only going to sound that way to you. I promise you, it's an experience you'll look back on, remember, and you'll never go back and repeat again. So that's one thing I didn't do, and I wish I did. I started to do it afterwards. Get into a creative writing class. You'll never know how creative you are until you get into a creative writing class. And I had a guy that was very, very well educated and extremely good at the topics and the content of this course. And again, it was an ACE class. It was done by another inmate. I don't want to put his name out there. His first name is Steve, and he was in Cumberland, Maryland, drawing 17 and 18. So if anybody knows who I'm talking about, and he had a creative writing course. Kudos to that guy. I don't care about his crime. He didn't know anything about kids and this, that, and the other because he was in a camp. So whatever his crime was, not my problem. It was white collar. Hey, to each his own. But the guy's extremely smart, and he was very well versed, and I appreciated all his time and the energy he put into that course and that class. I took a lot out of it, and I utilized that information today, a couple of years later. So get in a creative writing course, write down your thoughts, and spend time with your emotions. On paper from pen. Get it out of your system. Don't carry that baggage with you every day. It's a big burden to carry if you're by yourself and haven't made bones with anybody, haven't made a relationship with anybody. It's a lot to carry and a lot to shoulder. So do that first and foremost. Also, write down a schedule. Build a daily schedule, what you would like to get accomplished. First and foremost, waking up. What's your next move? Brush your teeth, wash your face, get dressed. If there's a roll call you got to go to, go. If you got a work assignment, be there early and just be prompt. Keep the COs off your back so your time is easy. You'll get more favorable things to do versus the bullshit jobs. And maybe even, I don't want to say move up the ladder because that's a dumb thing. Who wants to move up the ladder in prison? But if you can have some benefits and some perks from being in prison, take them. All right, they're handouts from the COs. They don't want to do certain things, or they don't like being involved in a lot of different areas of work environment. So if you can get some freedom and some level of just left alone, take it. It's a blessing, I promise you. I worked in the kitchen, and I'll tell you about that later, about getting a side hustle and working your job the right way to earn, have some fun, and make your days go by pretty quickly. And also learn something. I learned how to bake. I never baked anything in my life, and I became the only baker on the compound. And that was my second job. But anyways, long story short is get in touch with yourself, write some of these things down, knowing what you need immediately. Again, the clothing, you want that just for your own peace of mind that it's yours and you bought it, it's a mental thing more than anything that you bought it and it wasn't issued to you. Although you bought it from prison, you still were able to buy it with your own money from a commissary account, and it's a belonging that you have, and it gives you a peace of mind that you'll never understand unless you're in that situation. So again, please buy just a couple of items that you can wear and embrace as yours and not theirs being issued to you if you have that affordability. I promise you, it's worth its weight in gold. Writing down those notes, like I mentioned before, it'll help you just kind of decompress from your day and get your feelings and emotions out. Getting into groups with people. Again, I don't go to Bible studies and things like that. I saw what went on there. A lot of people opening themselves up, and then you got poachers sitting in the room, kind of using that as their like wolf in sheep's clothing, and they're just looking to prey on somebody. So I got in and got out. I noticed who they were. I recognized what they're up to. I'm smart enough that after 30 years in the automotive industry, I was able to read people and their intentions, and none of it was good. Although it started out the right way, it quickly became everything was just kind of like with an agenda. As everything is, you're in prison. All right, so what do you expect? Anyways, I hope, again, this is helpful information. This is part 2 of a series about being a 48-year-old virgin. Again, going to prison for the first time. Don't get twisted. If you're in a bathroom stall and you see flattened out toilet paper rolls, you know you're in the wrong one. Get out of there quickly. Watch your back, okay? Scour the wall with your back against it as you leave. All right, you can read between the lines and know what that means. Knee pads, okay? All right, peace and love. I hope you guys, if you're going away, do your time the right way. Get in, get out, go back to your people. Love, life, and embrace what you have available as far as another opportunity to come back out and do it right this time. Stay tuned, like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications of new video releases, and we'll see each other again soon.